everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome officially back to my channel. As many of you will know if you follow me on Instagram, I took a little break. I took a vacation, so thank you to all of you for being so kind and being so supportive of me just taking 2 weeks off. That's the longest I haven't posted on YouTube since I started over a year ago now. And yeah, it was just so needed. It was so lovely. I did a live while I was away, but the internet situation when you're away isn't always the best either. So thanks to those of you who joined. I would like to do more lives, so now that I'm back, it'll be a lot easier. So just let me know if you're interested. But now that I'm back also, and this is not like a pre-recorded video or anything, I have so much content from my trip. I went to Portugal and a little bit of Spain, and I did a lot of shopping, specifically fragrance shopping, but definitely some other stuff as well. And I think it's gonna be like 6 or 7 parts because I tried to break it up into parts. That's what you guys said, and it worked better that way also. I agree. It's just nice that it's like in categories, and this is just the first one. So get ready. Just my ZARA fragrance purchases alone is gonna have to be in 2 parts because I did one, like this is gonna be all the MALONE, Joe Loves kind of stuff, and then I'm gonna do the other collection, which has nothing to do with Joe Malone. It's other perfumers in another part. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you haven't subscribed already, that is the biggest gift now that I'm back. Do subscribe. And do follow me on Instagram because I just talk to you guys a lot on there in between when I'm not posting. So we are gonna get back into it. For those of you who know, I adore this collaboration between Joe Malone and ZARA. I think it's spectacular. I think it's wonderful. And ever since I heard about the 2019 collection online back probably in 2018 when they announced it, or whenever they announced it, I've been obsessed. And the first time when they had that 2019 collection, I got it in Portugal as well. I traveled there and I bought all 8. I've done a video on it. It was super helpful to you guys, which I was really happy about. And I use those fragrances all the time. I love them. And I'm so happy I picked it up abroad where it was released on time, because by the time it came around here to Canada, they didn't bring, or at least around me, they only had the roller balls and the 100 mils, and I got all of mine in the 40 mils, which are my favorite, which I will get into because I'm pissed off about for these newer collections. So I was hoping that she would continue that relationship, and she did. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna talk about, I've got every single one of the fragrances since those 8 that she's released with H&M, apart from one. And those of you on Instagram know, we will get into the one I'm missing, but I feel like that always happens to me when I get to Portugal. I find the fragrance I was trying to find the last time around, and then I'm missing something new. So without further ado, let's get started with the fragrance that came out in 2020. It was just a one-off. I'm like confused why she did this, but anyways, it was Joe's Rhubarb. Technically, it's part of the ZARA Motions line, those 8 that she made. This is just like the 9th one, and it came out a year later. It hadn't released by the time I got those 8, and since 2020, obviously in 2020 I wasn't in Portugal. And this, I couldn't find it anywhere around me, so I was so happy to see that it was there. I think this one just came out in the 100 mil and the rollerball. Not exactly sure, but in the stores that I saw this, and the sales attendants only told me that this is only in the 90 mil, sorry, in the like the large size, which wasn't my jam. I wanted the 40 mils. If not, then I wanted rollerballs because I was trying to save on space. You guys will see, I bought a lot of fragrances. Whatever, you make it work. And I picked it up because I was not gonna be without them. So I'll get any size I can get. And this is supposed to have kind of red and green rhubarb, obviously, and have like a really strong vetiver note as well. So here she is. I will just say, I've smelled all of these, so none of these are first impressions because I couldn't wait. I will just say this really blew me away with how strong it is on the rhubarb. I was not, I know it's Joe's rhubarb. I know obviously it was going to be very rhubarb heavy, but I feel like this is a punch in the face with rhubarb. It is extremely tart, and I think the vetiver in this also is so, it's like kind of herbaceous and bitter, and it just makes it so, yeah, tart, herbaceous, and bitter. Those are like the three words that come to mind. And I feel like it's a really great one for cutting through heat. But if you don't like rhubarb, I don't see why you would go for it because it's called Joe's rhubarb. But if you're even like unsure about it, this is not the rhubarb to go with, because I feel like it stays with you the whole way around. Like top, middle, base, I don't know their notes. They weren't on these cards. But I feel like it's rhubarb heavy top to finish, really, top to bottom. That's what I'm trying to say, top to bottom. So I like it. I mean, I like it, but I don't think that this would have been one where I would have needed to get the 90 ml. Like, I don't see myself reaching for this as much compared to some of the others. So I wish they'd had the 40 mils and everything, or that I could have found a rollerball in this, because there's Rhubarb Éclairate by Hermès, which obviously is a lot more expensive, but that I own, and it has a musky base, and I adore that, and I feel like it's much more my vibe. This is so perfect, like I said, for cutting through heat. So I actually have been wearing it both in Portugal and now back home because it's still very hot. But I feel like there's going to be less days out of the year where I'm drawn to this sort of thing. So I do like it. I'm really happy to have it. This one came out obviously later than all the other ones I'm going to talk about. So I was just really happy to get my hands on it. So if you're a rhubarb lover, if you like that super, super tart, smack you in the face, herbaceous rhubarb, then Joe's rhubarb is for you. All right, so now we're gonna get to the two collections that I saw. Because like I said with Joe's rhubarb, that was from 2020. From what I could tell, Jo Malone came out with two separate collections in 2021, this year, with ZARA, the Rain collection and the Floral collection, and both of them seem to be like released only a month apart. So I don't really know, because obviously I saw them all at once, and from what I can tell online, one came out in June, one came out in July, and your girl went crazy and got them all, again, except for one, which I'm livid about, but we move on. So we're gonna start with the one that I think came out first, which is the Rain collection, the Raindrops collection, the Rain collection. And this one, like the other one, has 4 fragrances that were released. So the one I'm missing, the one that we'll just start off with because I'm missing it, is Bergamot and Leather Spritz. Apparently it's supposed to be the best of the collection, which, great, wonderful. But it's also supposed to be very reminiscent of Dior Eau de Parfum, apparently. Obviously, I don't know. I hunted far and wide. I was willing to get any size, go to any lengths. They were all sold out. I got kind of lucky at the last store that I was at, because in the system they said they had one left, but they couldn't find it, so they figured that it had been sold like that morning. I digress. I don't have it, but if you guys have it, or if you can get your hands on it, then I recommend it, because I recommend all of them. The prices are good, and I think Jo Malone fragrances at ZARA prices just makes sense, you know? It just makes sense because of, it's just the best combination. I love it. So we'll leave it there. The second one, which is the second one out of all of them that I had to get in the 90 ml, but I'm actually not upset about that, is Rose Petal Drops. So this is the ZARA Rain collection, like I said. They didn't have the 40 mils, so that's one thing that I was going to mention. I don't know if this is true for other countries, but they no longer, in neither of these two collections I'm going to talk about, sell the 40 mils. They just have the roller balls, which are 10 mils, and then the full size 90 mil. I love the 40 mils. Bring back the 40 mils, ZARA. Jo Malone. They were wonderful, and I was really upset about that. But here we are. So this is Rose Petal Drops. I tried this one in store because they actually did have a sample. They just ran out of the roller balls. And at first I was like, oh, that's nice. It's kind of like a slightly, like, it's got like a slight kick to it, rose. Maybe like, and I'd read somewhere, or not that I'd read, but like that I'd heard someone in the store say like that it smelled like lychee to them. And I was like, oh, great. Like, because everyone was around this whole perfume shelf, and I was like, oh, that's great. And when I first smelled it, I was like, oh, it's actually intriguing. Like, there's a definite kick to it. And it's rosy, and I love that. Why not? As I started to try to scramble to get all these other things, and I'm walking around the store, I did get like a waft of it when it had started to already dry down on my skin, and it wasn't just like the opening. And I remember thinking, because I didn't read about this collection, like the notes, I was just making sure how many were released in terms of names so that I could get them all. But I read no reviews. I didn't really even read their notes. I was just checking their names. So when after a while, when it dried down, I was like, oh my God, it smells quite a bit different. I mean, it's really like changed a little bit, and it's reminding me of something kind of. And I thought to myself like, oh, it's not a dupe, but it's like sort of in the same category of like a Delina. And then I remembered that girl's comment about lychee. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it. That's probably why it's like kind of reminding me of it, but it's definitely not a dupe. Lo and behold, there's like this huge conversation on people reviewing it, like on blog posts and on Fragrantica, of like people saying it's a dupe or people saying it's absolutely not a dupe. I brought the actual Delina so that I could smell them next to one another just in case I'm crazy, but they're not dupes, in my opinion. They are not dupes of one another. I would not like put them in a category of video or recommendation to tell someone to get this with the sole expectation that it's going to be a dupe of Delina, because it's not that. And if you go into it thinking it's going to be that, you might be disappointed, or you will be disappointed by Rose Petal Drops. However, you shouldn't, because I think this fragrance is really great, and I think it's not in the same, like it's not creamy in the same way that Delina is. It doesn't have like the sourness of Delina's opening. And so it doesn't really have that musk or sourness, but it just kind of in its middle, as it's drying down, it has like a vibe where you could see, or at least that I could see at most, if you like Delina and if you like ZARA fragrances, it goes without saying that I think you like Rose Petal Drops. That's really it. It has the same sort of vibe in its middle, but it's not a dupe. It's just in the same genre. And that's how I think you should see it. That's how I see it. And I really actually, like I said, like this fragrance, and I've been enjoying wearing it, but I don't see them being dupes at all, personally. That's my take. Then the next one we've got is Ceries Meze. And the other ones, all the rest of them I'm gonna show you, I just have the roller balls. I felt like the packaging was so big for a roller ball. And all the roller balls are $5.95, and they were all marked down to $2.99. Every single roller ball in all the stores. So for $2.99, I was so happy. And like I said, I was trying to save space. 10 mils works great for me. I have so many fragrances, it works great. I would not be disappointed with this in the slightest if this was a spray. It's not, and I don't understand why we're still doing this. Like, who is it that prefers a roller ball? Because I don't know who they are and I have questions. It's not me. That being said, I was going to deal with that because I wasn't gonna get 9 fragrances in 90 mils when I have a million more to get through. There's no way it would have fit. I love Ceries Meze. I could definitely see Ceries Meze being like an Acqua di Parma fragrance. It's so tart, but in a very different way, like than Joe's Rhubarb is. This is just so obviously citrusy and fresh. I feel like this just screams like yellow citrus freshness, very unisex as well. And I like how it's not trying to sweeten it up in any way. Like I don't get any orange or like just red fruits or anything. Like it's not going in any other direction other than smack you in the face, fresh citrus. And it reminds me of like Turkish fragrances, if you guys are familiar with them. Like Turkish eau de cologne are all very citrus heavy, and a lot of them don't shy away from just being smack you in the face tart. And it's really helpful in like hotter climates like Turkey and Portugal and some summers in Canada to have that sort of fragrance. So I love Citrus Meze. The last one in the Rain collection, like I said, because there's 4, but I could only get 3, is Amber and Fig Cashmere. And this one, I love. This one though, I will say, out of every fragrance that I'm gonna talk about today, this is the fragrance where I feel like is the most quintessential Jo Malone scent. Like in her actual expensive range, her own range, this smells like a Jo Malone fragrance more than all the others. It even sounds like a Jo Malone fragrance rather than her like ZARA fragrances, because it's hers were always like peony and blush suede, wood sage and sea salt, and this is like amber and Fig Cashmere. And I think she fell into like what she knows and familiar vibes. This, it just smells more complex to me. It smells a little bit more fragrancy, and the kind of balance that she strikes of being very fresh and smelling like real ingredients, and they're not very, like her fragrances are never idealistic or stuff. Like they're just very real, and I love her fragrances. I've had a problem with their lasting power versus their price, and this is just like, this is exactly what you would expect and want from Jo Malone delivered. So I love Amber and Fig Cashmere. The only thing I will say, and it makes me love it, but it might not make you love it, is it's not very strong on the fig at all. I feel like there is some citrus and amber that comes through with a touch of fig, but if you're going into it expecting like smack you in the face fig, it doesn't have that. And I love that about it. But if you wanted a fig fragrance, like a fig centric fragrance, to me, it's not very fig centric. It's quite soft. And it's not like a smack you in the face kind of fig, like I said. So love that. And that was the Rain collection. All right, so now we're gonna get to the last collection. And so this one, like I said, I think came out in July of this year, and the Rain was in June, whatever. This seems to be the most recent, and this is the Floral collection. I was so excited for this one, you guys. I love florals. I feel like I'm a spokesperson for florals here on YouTube, where the gourmands are always the winners, but I think florals are lovely, and I think more people like florals than they say that they do or think that they do, because they'll say, like, I've seen people that I won't name, but I've seen like people say like, oh, I don't like florals at all, and then they'll do like a favorites video and it'll be like their top 4 are florals, like those are complete floral fragrances. I don't like gourmands as much as other categories, but there's definitely gourmands I adore, and I've gotten more into them because every time I feel like I don't like something, I kind of force myself into it. I don't know if that's a Gemini thing or I'm insane, but I want people to give florals a chance. So I was so excited for these, and I feel like I'm all over the place because I haven't filmed in so long. So I hope you guys like this chatty video, but I'm just really excited. And I was a bit, okay, we'll get into it. So I'm gonna leave the best for last, but I think I was just a bit surprised. This was the first time where I was like, why are these the ones that she's released? So we're gonna start with Waterfall Brume. And the thing, whoops, the security thing fell out. The thing that surprised me the most is I feel like 2 out of these fragrances are quite confusing to me of like why Jo Malone would go so generic. And I need to do a video on like what I mean about just like safe generic scents. I think they're really helpful to have in your collection on days where you don't want to like offend anybody, or office scents, or even like those are the kinds of fragrances to give as gifts when you don't really know the person because they're just safe. So yeah, so Waterfall Brume, I feel like to me is very much that sort of scent. It is a watery floral. It's quite airy. It's quite nondescript. If I were to do like the blind fragrance challenge with myself again, oops, I would never guess what this is. And I was just surprised because I felt like their florals are so diverse and there's so many different ways that she could have gone with it that I was like, okay. But then, you know, you smell one and you're like, let's see if it's gonna change. And yeah, spoiler alert, it didn't. So then the second one was Spring Blossom Cascade. This one I have a bone to pick. It's never happened before. This one leaks. So I have used it obviously, but there's no way I've used that much of it. So I don't know if it's all of the Spring Blossom Cascades. It's definitely not all the roller balls because I've had them before and nothing from ZARA has ever leaked on me except for this. It's like faulty or something. So anywho, that's Spring Blossom Cascade and so much of it comes out at once. Here's the thing. After I smelled this, I was like, why did we need both? Not saying that they smell similar. Spring Blossom Cascade has got much more of a citrusy kick. I think it's a lot better than Waterfall Brume. Waterfall Brume is a fragrance we did not need. I felt like Jo Malone is better than that. ZARA is better than that. This smells like a million other fragrances. We don't need it. And if you were gonna do a safe floral, a citrusy floral, great, you've done it. Spring Blossom Cascade was the one. Do I think it could have been more interesting? Yes, but I'm being hard on this one because overall I was disappointed with this collection a little bit more than the other one. So this is like a step above. Then in third place, White Flower Posy. So this is a clean floral, which I'm always going to be more into. They're all also quite light, and I think part of that is because I can't spray them because I'll spray like crazy, but what can I do? I can't roll this all over my body. I definitely can't get it on my clothes or hair. So I do like how this one's a little bit more clean. I feel like, again, we could have just eliminated Waterfall Brume in my ideal world, kept one of these and made the other one like a lipsticky floral or a spicy floral or an ambery floral or a gourmand floral. Like I don't know. I really don't know why there were 3 of just like safe picks. There was the watery floral that was a safe generic pick, the citrusy floral that was a safe generic pick, and the clean floral that was a safe generic pick. Some are better than others out of the 3, but in general, I would have like envisioned them in a different way. And finally, I actually did like Ceries Peonies, which is the one I was most unsure about because I don't like peonies in fragrances that much. But this one was a fruity floral that I actually thought was really fun. Cerise means cherries in French, and I thought that it's got like a red fruit, fruity like tartness that I think goes well. It tames down the peony, which in my case is a good thing. And I just thought this was fun. This was great, made sense. You put in a fruity floral for sure, but in general, yeah, the Rain collection I thought was better than the Floral collection, which was surprising to me because based on names, I would have never thought that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am really excited to get back into filming for you guys. So definitely let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see from me. Keep your eyes out, like I said, for more ZARA videos, but also way more vacation videos. And let me know if you have tried, whoops, I'm dropping everything. If you've tried any of these ZARA fragrances from any of the collections, if you've tried Joe's Rhubarb, I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.